All right, all, I think we are going to just jump right in. So first of all, thank you all so much for attending our session today on remote failover. My name is Kelly King. I manage the partner sales team here at Pomeroy, and I am super excited to be the moderator for today's session. So I don't think I have to tell anyone on this call that in this very connected world in which we live, just how critical network reliability is. For that reason, today we are thrilled to bring together experts from Ericsson Cradlepoint, Pomeroy, and T-Mobile. So during this, we're going to talk about our cutting edge collective solution to keep your network up and running no matter what the challenge. So we're going to start off with a brief overview. We'll talk for just a minute about the partnership. We'll highlight the product category overall, maybe talk about a couple of the key products for this offering. And then we're going to dive in to the actual remote failover solution and the many, many benefits that you will experience with this solution. And finally, we will talk about the robust T-Mobile network. And just as a little kicker in the end, we're going to talk about a program that we are super excited to have right now that will allow this solution to be more affordable than it has ever been before. So the intent of this is to be brief. We're hitting the tip of the iceberg. We are just giving you a flavor. The ultimate objective is really to schedule a follow-up to dig deep. So we'll give you a way to do that afterward, and we will also take any questions that might pop up at the end of the session. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our esteemed panel. From Ericsson Cradlepoint, we have John Silvestri and Scott Pickles. John is the Senior Partner Account Manager at Ericsson, and Scott is the Consulting Sales Engineer. Next up, from Pomeroy, we're going to have Louis Belt. Louis is a Senior Enterprise Architect. He is one of our most senior members of the networking team. He's a CCIE, and you will find he has a wealth of information. And finally, Jason Turner, who we talk to every day, our National Channel Manager at T-Mobile, and he is also going to talk about that sweet deal I mentioned a minute ago. So with that, John, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kelly. Hey, everybody. My name's John Silvestri. I've been with Cradlepoint Ericsson Enterprise Wireless for 2 years. And to set the table here, to start, Cradlepoint has been around since about 2006. And in that time, we have been able to deliver over 2 million devices internationally. How do we do that? It's with our partnerships in those of Pomeroy and strategic carrier relationships of those of T-Mobile. Back in 2020, we were acquired by Ericsson, one of the most prominent cellular names in the industry. And what that has allowed us to do is further extend our reach as well as our resources to further bolster our products and our strategies to give customers the most desirable outcomes that they're looking for. And with that being said, for our next slide, I'm going to kick it over to my teammate, Scott Pickles.
Thanks, John. So as John said, we are now part of Ericsson, and one of the focuses that we have in our product line is wireless first. So we're a wireless first WAN optimization company, and we are a full security SASE stack solution at this point. We have the ability to play in both private network arenas with Ericsson's well-known EP5G product, and maybe a little bit lesser known, but Cradlepoint has a NetCloud Private Networks product that's been also migrated over to the Ericsson platform. We also have our NetCloud Edge, which is our way of connecting devices back to our NetCloud Exchange head end in a secure fashion, and we can bolster on and add those additional services that I was talking about that makes us a full SASE solution. And as far as the security aspect goes, we have, as I mentioned earlier, our NetCloud Exchange platform, but we also have a web-based platform. We acquired Ericom in the last year or two, so we also have the ability to provide SASE solutions for all the products that we've mentioned. we can play in the fixed wireless access space, the mobile space, IoT use case spaces, but we also have devices that are purpose built to accompany those use cases. And Pomeroy has selected some very specific products from our product line. And I'm going to turn it over to Louis Belt to talk more about those products in particular.
Sure. So thank you, by the way, Scott. I appreciate that. The products that you see on the screen are some of the products that we've selected, and there'll be bundles or offerings to go with these. So if you bundle the T-Mobile 5G connectivity with the particular product, there are incentives to give you subsidies to get those products less expensive, make it more affordable for you, allow you the opportunity to move off of 4G technology into 5G technology and so forth. As you can see, all Cradlepoint products qualify for a $700 subsidy. Then we have the ruggedized in-vehicle router, the R1900, really good product that's designed for mobile, works incredibly well, that obviously is part of the offering. We look at branch adapters. If you already have a router, already have SD-WAN, already have something in place, but you need that ability to convert 5G into Ethernet and bring it into your network, the branch adapters do that. So that's the 1850 and the 1855, the 1855 being the outdoor weatherproof version of it, which is phenomenal. Both products we install a ton of. And then, of course, there's the branch router. So if you need a branch router, you need something to bring in the 5G signal and go ahead and route. The E100 is a really good product, inexpensive product, and obviously something that we can work with as well to give you some options out there depending on the need that you have. Next slide. So let's talk about connected workplace for a minute. What is it? Basically, it's a suite of offerings. We're talking about monitoring and management, bandwidth aggregation, SASE, SD-WAN type solutions, the procurement of those, the deployment of those, the program management behind it, getting it deployed to all of your locations, and then a number of a la carte services as well. So basically what we're offering is soup to nuts. The good part is that we can offer this ad hoc. For those things that you already do yourself, say you already do monitoring and management, fine, we can come in and complement that. If you don't need broadband aggregation, we don't have to do that piece. Same if you've already got a SASE solution or SD-WAN solution in place, great. If you don't have those in place and you want to get into something like ZTNA or CASB, we can absolutely help in those areas as well. Obviously, we can help you procure the product, do the IT asset management, even get rid of and dispose of the old product, whatever you need from that standpoint, deploying it, managing it, and so forth. So Pomeroy brings that ability to take these quality products that you get from Ericsson and Cradlepoint and the phenomenal circuits that you get in the 5G world from T-Mobile and add this solution to your environment and do it very easily and seamlessly. Next slide, please. So let's talk about failover first. Obviously, there's a lot of reasons to have failover. Many companies have avoided having a failover circuit because of cost. Well, we're going to give you a way to make this very inexpensive, low monthly cost for the bandwidth, subsidy on the solution itself to really make this an attractive offer. Many of you may have backup, but you may be doing 4G LTE kind of backup without the 5G capability, and you can't take advantage of the enhanced mobile broadband capability that you get within 5G, the enhanced bandwidth that you get within 5G, or for that matter, the unmetered services that you can get with a 5G solution that allow you to come in and do this very inexpensively. So by putting this package together, we're offering our customers a way to very inexpensively bring in remote failover. And you think about it, if you don't have redundancy in your network and a remote site goes down, you've lost all visibility into that site. You can't see what's going on with the equipment. Obviously, any transactions that are dependent upon the web or centralized databases aren't going to work because you don't have that connectivity. We have a chain of car washes, for example, where a customer can go to any one of their branded car washes in an area and have a membership. You buy a membership one place, it's used everywhere. Well, we had this car wash actually have outages, and when they have outages, they couldn't service their clients. They only had a single connectivity, and when that broadband connectivity went down, they were out of business. They had to turn customers away, and that meant that they were losing customers. Customers coming in for the first time, customers who just wanted to process a single car wash with a credit card transaction. They didn't have that ability. What's more, without that redundancy, that secondary circuit, they didn't have the ability to see what was going on. So it always meant that you were dispatching someone out to that location in order to find out what was going on, which slowed down the whole troubleshooting process. So obviously, when we're talking about failover, that redundant circuit is critical to keeping businesses up, keeping business continuity going, and obviously making sure that you're keeping your customers happy. Next slide, please. Okay. Uninterrupted connectivity. Obviously, what we want is automatic failover. If we've got a primary circuit and we've got a secondary circuit, we want to make sure that if the primary goes down, the secondary circuit automatically kicks in. It's seamless to the users. It's seamless to the customers. That way, we've reduced downtime, we've ensured business continuity, and we've reduced or eliminated interruption in business communications so that business can continue. It should be seamless to the end user, and yet we have the ability, because we've had that failover, to see what's going on and then act on it and dispatch the right team if we need to dispatch, or just basically open a ticket with a provider and get a circuit back up and going. So obviously the whole concept of uninterrupted connectivity is what we're trying to deliver. Next slide, please. Simplified network management. Along with keeping the customer happy is the ability to see what's going on. If you've got a backup connection, if you don't have a backup connection and you have a failure, what happens? You're blind to the entire site. So obviously, having that backup connection, that ability to automatically fail over, allows you visibility into all of the devices within that remote network. And if you can see that remote network, you can see if it's a circuit issue, you can see if it's a power issue, you can see if you need to reboot a piece of equipment, whatever the case may be, in order to resolve a problem without necessarily having to dispatch someone on site to then troubleshoot and do something that you could have done remotely. So obviously, when you add that redundant link in, you simplify your overall network management. Even though your routing may be a little more complex, you've simplified management of your network because you've got multiple paths to the same location. And next, please. Enhanced network performance. This is where it really comes to play. Instead of using your 5G circuit as a backup circuit, why not use it as a second circuit? So you've got dual connectivity. You utilize both the primary and secondary 5G connections. You can get it in unmetered fashion so that it doesn't cost you additional charges throughout the month. When you run into an overage, it gives you the ability to load balance and prioritize traffic per link by traffic type based on performance requirements. And obviously, it allows for more bandwidth availability, which supports more users, more devices, and high bandwidth activity simultaneously. Keeping in mind, of course, that if you supersaturate both circuits when you have a failover, then you're going to end up in a situation where you've got degraded performance because you've overloaded the two circuits together. So you've always got to be mindful of your bandwidth and making sure you're managing that appropriately. Next slide, please. Reduced operational risk. Obviously, failover systems protect your business from costly impacts of network outages. And that's what it's about, ensuring continuous operation even during unexpected disruptions. We want to make sure that your business can continue to function, that you continue to bring in revenue, that you continue to service customers and keep customer satisfaction high. That's what it's about. So by adding an additional circuit in, you get the flexibility to switch between providers. If you've got a circuit that maybe isn't down, but is showing bad performance. So all of a sudden latency or jitter or something goes through the roof on one circuit. It's not down, so it doesn't automatically fail over. We can actually configure it to where we can either do that automatically based on parameters, or we can direct traffic based on the traffic type to say, hey, all the stuff that's latency sensitive, all the stuff that's jitter sensitive, let's send across the most effective circuit, and the stuff that's just regular data transfer that can survive a bit of resend and retry, we'll send that down the other link until we get that link up and going to full capacity again. So what you're doing is using the circuits to reduce your overall operational risk. You're making sure that you're using things intelligently, using your bandwidth as intelligently as possible, and giving you the most flexibility to make sure operations continue. Next, please. All right, so with this, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jason Turner. Jason is, in my view, the sharpest guy at T-Mobile, and I know he didn't want me to say that, but I want to set the expectations extremely high for him because this guy knows his stuff, and he's the guy I go to when I have questions. So with that, Jason, it's all yours.
Louis, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope I don't let you down. Like John, been in the industry, Louis as well. I've been with the company 21 years and almost my entire career working with partners like Pomeroy to deliver, best in class service to our customers. And what we've really been able to do here at T-Mobile over the last 36 months is really put a best in class wireless 5G network that is really geared towards enterprise. And within that, launching a fixed wireless access program for customers to use our services both as a primary and backup connection in their branch locations, in their satellite locations, in their enterprise offices, and gives us the ability to provide, high speed internet that has never been introduced before in the marketplace when it comes to wireless. As we see this transformation as a carrier, industry stats are showing that 78% of IT decisions are considering using wireless LTE or 5G as the only WAN link in their branch locations. I have several use cases working with customers where T-Mobile is the primary and only connection in the location. And what gives us the ability to do that, I'll continue through my part of the presentation. But super excited to be working with our partners at Pomeroy, our OEM partner Cradlepoint. And what we've been able to do at T-Mobile, like I said, is put together a best-in-class service over the last 36 months to build our network into the only standalone 5G network in the country today, and to cover 98% of the country when it comes to 5G coverage. 5G coverage is very important when it comes to fixed wireless and wireless access via a router. So that's very important when you look at this map here, that we cover, 2 million square miles. We have 302 million people covered with ultra capacity 5G, which gives you up to 1 to 2 gig download speed, depending on the proximity to a tower, depending on a lot of other things when it comes to wireless to get you to those levels of service. We have a rocket ship of a head start compared to our competitors, as we have the only standalone 5G network as well. So when it comes to 5G, there's a lot of ingredients in the mixture, and as it stands today, the ingredients we have from a capacity standpoint, from a spectrum holding standpoint, we have the best product to put forth in the enterprise. Next slide, please. When you look at that spectrum and you look at the capabilities of T-Mobile, and this is why we're partnering with our friends at Pomeroy and Cradlepoint, is that we have, like I said, the best ingredients when it comes to 5G. There's spectrum holdings and frequencies that make all of this work, and we are the leader when it comes to those frequencies and spectrum, as we own the most property, if you will, and we own the most people in that property. And what really helps from a connectivity standpoint within your branch location is the fact that we have all three frequencies that make 5G really perform at its best. From millimeter wave, which is the highest frequency, which gives you the least amount of latency, and the fastest speed, to low band nationwide coverage, which gives us distance, and it gives us penetration inside buildings. So when you look at locations, 98% of your locations are covered with T-Mobile 5G. When you're looking at what is the infrastructure of that location, our frequencies in our spectrum gives us the ability to penetrate those locations. And that's why we're seeing a lot more of our customers and new customers coming to T-Mobile because of our standalone 5G network, and looking at us as not only a wireless carrier, but an internet service provider to help their company and their business needs. Next slide, please. When you look at the connectivity challenges, and this is kind of piggybacks on what Louis was saying earlier, there are a handful of reasons as to why you're looking at a wireless circuit, if you will, for your connection. One is to avoid costly system outages, especially if you're in a customer-facing company and there's quick transactions that need to happen that could be costly. If you're out in the field and you're at a branch location and you're down and you have workers inside that, time is money, right? So you have to have the connectivity to be there. And then also and this is something we couldn't probably put in the slide even a year ago, is to prove connectivity for hard to reach locations. Like I said, we cover 98% of the country. So where T-Mobile didn't work before, it's working now. So we continue to grow and expand our footprint, and we're growing and expanding our footprint with 5G. So there's areas where you would frankly find it hard to believe that we have coverage there. So to have that for hard to reach locations, to replace overpriced and unreliable connections. So I have a use case of a retailer that has 2,500 locations that are in rural areas, and we're the only connection inside their stores, right? So there is the ability to do that, and they replaced 150 different ISPs with T-Mobile. So now that company has one ISP to work with, and that's us. So not only did we provide a better outcome for the customer, we're providing ease of use for that customer to work with one solution provider. And then as far as the providing flexible options, so we have ways that we can augment and enhance our network based on location to even improve upon what we're delivering on a regular out-of-the-box solution. We have ways that we can do that through our partnerships with Cradlepoint and Pomeroy to enhance your user experience. And then, the ability to augment specific locations, right? So the retailer I said that, has 2,500 locations, they actually have their own private slice of the network, if you will. So that organization has its own lane into our network to where there's no other traffic on that lane, if you will. So that customer has its own private circuit, if you will, into that location. So several things that we can do. We're the industry leader when it comes to these augmentations and enhancements to our network. So, look forward to hearing more from the team at Pomeroy and Cradlepoint, looking to hear more from our customers on the call about how, T-Mobile can solve some of your outcomes and look into the future of what you guys are doing from a 5G strategy. Next slide, please. When it comes to the subsidy of the device and the plan, and John talked about it, Louis talked about it, but industry first in a couple things here. Number one is our partnership with Cradlepoint. We put together a subsidy offer where, as a carrier, we're discounting the hardware, the equipment of Cradlepoint to you as the customer. Never been done before. In the wireless world, you're used to getting free iPhones or a free Samsung device. That's kind of standard, business practice today with wireless carriers. But when you talk about other connected devices, never has it come up to say, hey, we're going to give you a discount by signing up with T-Mobile, and we're going to, just take it off the cost of the equipment. Never happened before. The other piece of it is that the circuit or the line, the dedicated line to that Cradlepoint device, we're the only carrier that can offer truly unlimited connection. So for $60 a month, you as a customer get an unlimited data plan tied to that Cradlepoint router, procured through our friends at Pomeroy, where it's an unthrottled, uninterrupted connection to the internet, to however you guys configure that device. For that, we're going to give you a $700 discount off the cost of the equipment. We do a lot of pre-check before the deployment of the device to make sure that you're covered from a location standpoint. We do testing to make sure that we're providing you the best in class service. And then for your commitment to this program, there is a 36-month agreement. We can talk into more details. And hey, you may say, hey, that's great. We're not looking for a $60 plan. We're looking something for more of a, if everything goes down, we have a backup. We have other plans that we can put together for you as well. But as far as the offer, what we're talking about today and how we're going forward with a go-to-market strategy on this new program, this is the best plan in this space across the three carriers. And again, we're the only ones that can offer you a truly unlimited connection to those Cradlepoint devices. Next slide. That's all for my portion of the program. I'll turn it back to our friends at Pomeroy. Kelly, take it over.
Right. Yes, thank you so much, Jason. That's very exciting. So we did leave a few minutes for questions and answers. You should have a little Q&A button up at the top of the screen if you would like to add a question. So I will give just a quick minute here in case anyone has had any questions that they want to add here. So we'll just take a minute or two here. Do we have any questions?
And Kelly, while they're working on questions, if you don't mind, I forgot to mention, hey guys, when we're looking at some of the Cradlepoint equipment, when you're looking at that 1850 versus 1855, what we've found is if you go with the 1855 that allows you to put that unit outside, it really enhances your overall speed, throughput capability. So wherever possible, obviously we'll do site surveys to make sure that you've got the right connectivity and we're choosing the right device for you. You may be in an area that gives you really good signal, so you don't need an external antenna or external device, but you've got the options within this offering to say, hey, if I need to go with an outdoor ruggedized device to get me better signal and better throughput, I can do that. So I did want to mention that.
Oh, good call out. So we do have one question. It looks like it is, how does the remote failover solution integrate with existing network infrastructure? Louis, can you address that?
Sure, absolutely. So we can literally design the solution so that you use something like your Cradlepoint 1855 or 1850 that just integrates the 5G into Ethernet, hands-off Ethernet that we can plug into your existing router. If your existing router has the capability, if not, we can go with the Cradlepoint solution that gives you that router and that capability to join the two networks together to do the type of failover that you need. There are many different solutions that we can bring to play depending on your environment. Some customers are going to have an existing router. Some are going to only have maybe a broadband modem or something along those lines, and you need a router in between to be able to intelligently route the traffic depending on the type of traffic and so forth. We can fit any of those needs. So we'll design the solution for you. We'll make sure that it meets your requirements, and we'll make sure that it's easy to monitor and maintain.
All righty, thank you very much. One additional question. What kind of support and training is available for businesses adopting this solution?
So we, as Pomeroy, would come in, we would do the implementation, we would work with your guys on how it's configured, how it's built. So we would do as-built training to make sure that you're able to support it if you want to support it. If you don't want to support it, we're happy to actually do that as well, provide the monitoring and management and support. But if you want to support it yourself internally, we're happy to do the as-built training to teach you how it works in your environment. If you want more training, then we can work with our partners, T-Mobile and Cradlepoint, to arrive at other training for you to get a little more robust in capabilities outside of what's implemented within your environment.
That's great to have those additional options. So those are the only questions that I see out here right now. So as we wrap up, I just want to touch one more time. So what we have in this solution, as you heard, uninterrupted connectivity, simplified management, enhanced performance, and reduced risk. So why not? Why not take that next step and let's schedule a call and do a deeper dive. We will delve into your specific needs and challenges, and we will figure out the way to best support and meet your goals. So with that, I want to give you a few options for follow-up. Some of you may already be having this conversation. I believe you are with your Pomeroy account director. So if you have one, feel free to reach out there. They'll take that next step with you, get it scheduled. If you don't, you can reach out to the Pomeroy.com website. We have a little button that just says contact me, a very simple form to fill out. We'll respond very quickly. Or finally, reach out to me. Jot my email down here. It's kelly.king@pomeroy.com. I will be happy to answer or get answered for you any questions that you might have after this, or to connect you with the appropriate person to get that follow-up scheduled. So I thank you all for joining us today. I hope you found it insightful and take that next step. So everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Bet.